He's back again. Part 6. And yes, after this, we will be back into original time and all of that. So I'll see you next week. I don't fucking know, man. The only thing that bang turns around. Oh man. See, I aspire to be him. Walks up into a suit shop, walks back out, fresh suit. Oh man. Part 6 tells of the unlimited possibilities of the universal mind, which the life principles of every atom in existence, and explains how this mind is differentiated in form. It tells of the most marvelous piece of mechanism which has ever been constructed, and tells how the effect which will be produced depends entirely upon the mechanism to which it is attained. It tells why we should all become familiar with this mechanism, so as to secure the effect which we desire. The power to which it can be attained is unlimited, and we can accordingly secure any effect we desire when we become familiar with the mechanism and understand how to make the proper connections. An understanding of this part will enable you to plan courageously and execute fearlessly, because you will have come into a knowledge of the power of the source of all power, and this will determine your course in life, bringing you into contact with all that is strongest and best and most desirable. Introduction, Part 6. This part will give you an excellent understanding of the most wonderful piece of mechanism which has ever been created. A mechanism whereby you can create for yourself health, strength, success, prosperity, or any other condition which you desire. Necessities are demands, and demands create action, and actions bring about results. The processes of evolution is constantly building our tomorrow out of our 2 days. Individual development, like universal development, must be gradual, with an ever increasing capacity and volume. The knowledge that if we infringe upon the rights of others, we become moral thorns and find ourselves entangled at every turn of the road, should be an indication that success is contingent upon the highest moral ideals, which is the greatest good to the greatest number. Aspirations, desires, and harmonious relations constantly and persistently maintained will accomplish results. The greatest hindrances is erroneous and fixed ideas. To be in tune with eternal truth, we must possess poise and harmony within. In order to receive intelligence, the receiver must be in tune with the transmitter. Thought is a process of mind, and mind is creative, but this does not mean that the universal will change its operating mode, or fucking Windows 98, Windows whatever, to suit us or our ideas. But it does mean that we come into our harmonious relationship with the universal, and when we have accomplished this, we may ask to which we are entitled, and the way will be made plain. Yeah. Part 6. The universal mind is so wonderful that it is difficult to understand its utilitarian powers and possibilities and its unlimited creative effects. We have found that the mind is not only all intelligence, but all substance. How then is it differentiated in form? How are we to secure the effect which we desire? Ask any electrician what the effect of electricity will be, and he will reply, electricity is a form of motion, and its effects will depend upon the mechanism to which it is attached. Fuck. That's like, it's like a neuron activated in my brain. It's literally, yeah. If you're the right vessel to carry this energy, like money consciousness, because money is just an energy at the end of the day. If you build yourself like $1 bill, then you'll get $1 bill. You build yourself like $100 bill with a Benjamin. You got a Benjamin on your face, and you'll have fucking Benjamins. Oh, if only I had them. Yeah, you know what? I don't know, man. I'm not talking about Benjamins here. I'm talking about like editing skills. There was a thought in my mind popping out power. I could have just been, random black screen and then randomly just a face of Benjamin on top of me. But then it's like, yeah, I could, and AI could help. Oh wait, let me show you a meme. I find it so funny. My job is to spread knowledge, wisdom, and love. And oh, I find that so funny. Yeah, because everyone's sleeping on us right now, so oh man. Upon this mechanism will depend whether we shall have heat, light, power, music, or any other marvelous demonstrations of power to which this vital energy has been harnessed. What effects can be produced by thought? The reply is that thought is mind in motion, just as wind is air in motion, and its effects will depend entirely on the mechanism to which it is attached. Here, then, is the secret of all mental power. It depends entirely on the mechanism which we attach. What is the mechanism? You know something of the mechanism which has been invented by Edison, Bell, Macaroni. It's not that funny. And other electrical wizards, by which place and space and time have become one macaroni. have become only figures of speech. But did you ever stop to think that the mechanism which has been given you for transforming the universal, omnipresent, potential power was invented by a great inventor than Edison. We are accustomed to examining the mechanism of the implements which we use for tilling the soil, and we try to get an understanding of the mechanism of the motor car which we drive. But most of us are content to remain in absolute ignorance of the great piece of mechanisms which has ever come into existence, the brain of man. Let us examine the wonders of this mechanism. Perhaps we shall thereby get an understanding of the various effects of which it is the cause. In the first place, there is a great mental world in which we live and move, and have our being. This world is omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent. It will respond to our desires in direct ratio to our purpose and faith. The purpose must be in accordance with the law of our being. That is, it must be creative or constructive. Our faith must be strong enough to generate sufficient strength to bring our purpose into manifestation. As thy faith is, so be it unto thee. Bears the stamp of scientific test. As thy faith is, so be unto thee. That's why I always keep on saying, you have to have faith. Just have to have faith. You have to have faith in everything. The effect which are produced in the world without are the results of the action and reaction of the individual upon the universal. That is the process which we call thinking. The brain is the organ through which this process is accomplished. Think of the wonders of it all. Do you love music, flowers, literature, art, or are you inspired by the thought of ancient or modern geniuses? Both. Remember, it can't even be duality because they're all art. They all get under this whole big microscope of art. Remember, every beauty to which you respond must have its corresponding outlines in your brain before you can appreciate it. There is not a single virtue or principle in the storehouse of nature which the brain cannot express. The brain is an embryonic world ready to develop at any time as necessity may arise. If you can comprehend that this is a scientific truth, one of the wonderful laws of nature will be easier for you to get an understanding of the mechanism by which these extraordinary results are being accomplished. The nervous system has been compared to an electric circuit with its batteries and cells in which force is originated, and its white matter to insulate wires by which the current is conveyed. It is through these channels that every impulse or desire is carried through the mechanism. The spinal cord is the great motor and sensory pathway by which messages are conveyed to and from the brain. Then there is the blood supply plunging through the veins and arteries, renewing our energy and strength, the perfectly arranged structure upon which the entire physical body rests. And finally, the delicate and beautiful skin, clothing the entire mechanism in a mantle of beauty. This then is the temple of the living God, and the individual I is given control upon his understanding of the mechanism which is within his control. Will the results depend. Every thought set the brain cells in function. At first, the substance upon the thought is directed fails to respond, but if the thought is sufficiently refined and concentrated, the substance finally yields and expresses perfectly. The influence of the mind can be exerted upon any part of the body, causing the elimination of any undesirable effects. Read that one again. I'm not going to do it. I'll give you time. You done? You done? You done? Okay. Who's outside? I just had one of them stretches where you like stretch and like your legs just. Alright. A perfect conception and understanding of the laws governing in the mental world cannot fail to be of immeasurable value in the transaction of business, as it develops the power of discernment and gives a clearer understanding and appreciation of facts. The man who looks within instead of without cannot fail to make use of the mighty forces which will eventually determine his course in life, and so bring him into vibration with all that is best, strongest, and most desirable. It's like I said, I had a very nihilistic view on the world. Like, extremely nihilistic. But then when I started to look inside and find the beauty in here, the beauty out there came. It's like when people say, oh, bro's down bad because bro's looking at life, bro's looking at this, and bro's taking walks in nature, bro's right at the bottom, bro's crashed out, bro's this, and bro. He's looking at the little parts in nature, going on walks and admiring nature because he's admiring the little parts in himself that has made him question himself. The little parts in himself that he has never found before, but he is finding now, and he's trying to incorporate into his whole character, into his whole being. That is not someone you should laugh at. That is someone you should admire. If you haven't been there, I promise you, you will be there. You will be on these long walks. You will be looking at nature. You will be admiring the little things in life. Because you will never be able to find true happiness unless you do that. You'll never be able to be you unless you do that. Because you'll never be able to find the little things in you that make you who you are. Attention or concentration is probably the most important essential in the development of mind culture. The possibilities of action when properly directed are so startling that they would hardly appear credible to the uninitiated. The cultivation of attention is the distinguishing characteristic of every successful man or woman, and is the very highest personal accomplishment which can be acquired. The power of attention can be more readily understood by comparing it with a sunglass, in which the rays of sunlight are focused. They possess no particular strength as long as the glass is moved about and the rays directed from one place to another. But let the glass be held perfectly still, and let the rays be focused on one spot for any length of time, the effect will become immediately apparent. So, with the power of thought, let power be dissipated by scattering the thought from one object to another, and no result is apparent but focus. This power through attention or contraction on any single purpose of any length of time, and nothing becomes impossible. So focus is power through attention and or concentration on any single purpose for any length of time, and nothing becomes impossible. A very simple remedy for a very complex situation. Some will say, alright, try it. You who have had no experience in concentrating the thought of a definite purpose or object, choose any single object and concentrate your attention on it for a definite purpose, or even 10 minutes. You cannot do it. The mind will wander a dozen times, and it will be necessary to bring it back to the original purpose, and each time the effect will have been lost, and at the end of the 10 minutes nothing will have been gained, because you have not been able to hold your thoughts steadily to the purpose. It is, however, through attention that you will finally be able to overcome obstacles of any kind that appear in your path onward and upward. And the only way to acquire this wonderful power is by practice. Practice makes perfect, in things as in anything else. In this as in anything else. In order to cultivate the power of attention, bring a photograph with you, to the same seat in the same room in the same position as before. Examine it closely, at least 10 minutes. Close the expressions of the eyes the form of the features, the clothing, the way the hair is arranged. In fact, note every detail shown on the photograph carefully. Now cover it, close your eyes, and try to see it mentally. If you can see every detail perfectly, and you can form a good mental image of the photograph, you are to be congratulated. If not, repeat the process until you can. This step is simply for the purpose for preparing the soil. In part 7, we shall be ready to sow the seed. It is by such exercises as these that you will be able to control your mental moods, your attitudes, your consciousness. Great organizers are learning to withdraw from the multitude more and more, that they have more time for planning, thinking, and generating the right mental moods. Successful businessmen are constantly demonstrating the fact that it pays to keep in touch with the thoughts of other successful businessmen. A single idea may be worth thousands of dollars, and these ideas can only come to those who are receptive. Yeah. Who are receptive, who are prepared to receive them, who are in a successful frame of mind. Men are learning to place themselves in harmony with the universal mind. They are learning the ability of all things. They are learning the basic methods and principles of thinking, and this is changing conditions and multiplying results. They are finding the circumstances and environments follow the trend of mental and spiritual progress. They find that growth follows knowledge, action follows inspiration, opportunity follows perception. Always the spiritual first, then the transformation into the infinite and illimitable possibilities are achieved. As the individual is but the channel of the differentiations of the universal, these possibilities are necessarily inexhaustible. Thought is the process by which we may absorb the spirit of power and hold the results in our consciousness until it becomes a part of our ordinary consciousness. The methods of accomplishing this task may be by the persistent practice of a few fundamental principles are explained in this book. Is the master key, which unlocks the storehouse for the universal truth. The two great sources of human suffering are bodily diseases and mental anxieties. They may be readily traced to the infringement of some natural laws. This is, no doubt, owing to the fact that so far knowledge has largely remained partial, but the clouds of darkness which have accumulated thought through long ages are beginning to roll away, and with them many of the miseries that attend imperfect information. That a man can change himself, improve himself, recreate himself, control his environment, and master his own destiny is the conclusion of every mind that is wide awake to the power of right thought in constructive action. Larson. Part 6. What are some of the effects which can be produced by electricity? Heat, light, power, and music. What do these various effects depend upon? The mechanism to which the electricity is attached. What is the result of the action and interaction of the individual mind upon the universal, the conditions and experiences with which we meet? How may these conditions be changed? By changing the mechanisms by which the universal is differentiated in form. What is the mechanism? The brain. How may it be changed? By the processes of we call thinking, through the processes brain cell, by the processes we call thinking. Thoughts produce brain cells, and these cells produce the corresponding thought in the universe. Of what value is the power of concentration? It is the very highest potential personal accomplishment which can be acquired, and the distinguishing characteristics of every successful man or woman. How may it be acquired? By faithfully practicing the exercises outlined in the system. Why is it so important? Because it enables us to control our thoughts, and since thoughts are caused conditions, and since thoughts are causes, conditions must be effects. Thoughts are causes and conditions must be effect. If we can control the cause, we can control the effect. I control the cause, so I control the effect. I don't react to reality, reality reacts to me. I control the cause, so of course I know the effect. I don't react to reality. Reality reacts through me. What is changing conditions and multiplying results in the objective world? Men are learning the basic methods of constructive thinking. This above all to thine own self be true, and it must be followed as the night the day. Thou man canst not follow by false to any man. Remember, fully to understand grand and beautiful thoughts require perhaps as much time to conceive them. If you wish to enjoy the most practical benefit from the master key, go slowly, and I'm done after this. 7. Well, transfuse into your mind the contents of one part only each week for 24 weeks. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing for you. Don't get me wrong, every week I'm going to come back to these videos and I'm going to learn from them again, because it would be somewhat kind of out of my mind, but I do already understand it because I have already worked on the master key before. It's just more knowledge because I love it. Realize the meaning of every phrase. Consult the master key constantly as your perpetual help and stimulus. Each time you read the work, you will get a better understanding of the internal cosmic principles. Tell others of the master key so that more and more people may reciprocate with you as conscious adepts in harmony. You have a whole space by looking down below to talk amongst yourselves about everything that you have just seen, to talk to me about everything you have just seen, because I am one of you motherfuckers lurking in the comments, typing and doing that. Come on, man, we've got to learn, and the only way we can learn good is if we learn together. We are all adepts in harmony, so let's work.